Welcome to Between the Notes. Today, we are diving deep, and I mean deep, into one of the most ambitious tracks in all of modern hip-hop, Kendrick Lamar's Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. This thing is a 12-minute odyssey right in the middle of his classic album, Good Kid, Mad City. And trust me, it's so much more than a song. It's a story about the heavy, heavy weight of telling other people's stories.
From the second this album dropped, everybody knew this track was on another level. It's been called a masterpiece, a stunning denouement, and it's praised for its empathy. But what really makes it hit so hard? It's not just that it's long. It's the depth, the absolutely raw and vulnerable human portraits he paints. It's incredible. And to really get it, you have to look at the album cover. Right there, it's subtitled, A Short Film by Kendrick Lamar. So Sing About Me isn't just a track, it's a pivotal scene. It's that moment where the action grinds to a halt, and we're forced to look at the real life and death consequences of the world he's been showing us. Now, the song is actually split into two parts. The first half is called Sing About Me, but here's the thing. It's not really Kendrick talking, not at first. Instead, he kind of steps back and becomes this channel for other voices, for people caught up in the life he's describing.
So Kendrick builds this whole first half around three really distinct characters. First, we hear from the brother of his friend Dave, who was killed earlier in the album's story. Then we hear from the sister of a woman named Keisha, whose tragic story Kendrick told on a previous album. And then finally, Kendrick himself steps in, wrestling with what it even means to tell these stories. So the song kicks off with Dave's brother. And man, he is just drowning in grief and totally consumed by revenge. That line, I got a demon glued to my back, I mean, what an image, right? It perfectly captures that feeling, that cycle of violence that feels completely inescapable. But even in all that despair, he asks Kendrick for one thing: tell my story, make it mean something.
And then, boom. Just as he's making that plea, his voice is cut short. 3 gunshots. That's it. His story's over. The music keeps going, but he's gone. It's such a brilliant and brutal way to show the problem at the heart of the song. Violence doesn't care about your narrative. It just interrupts, it erases, and the cycle just keeps on turning. After Kendrick's own verse, where he's reflecting on all this, the whole track just shifts. The beat changes, the mood gets darker, and we slide into the second half. I'm Dying of Thirst. And this isn't just a new title. It's a whole new feeling, a new spiritual crisis. And you can literally hear the change in the music. The first half samples this soulful, kind of sad Grant Green jazz guitar. It feels reflective, like looking back. But the second half, it samples this eerie, almost heavenly vocal harmony from a group called the Singers Unlimited. It's got this ominous beat underneath it. The sound itself is telling us, okay, we're done talking about the problem. Now we are desperately looking for a way out. So this phrase, dying of thirst, it's repeated over and over again until it's just haunting you. But of course, he's not talking about actual water. No, Kendrick is digging into this much deeper, more complicated kind of thirst that's affecting everyone in his story. It really works on a few different levels. So first, you've got that thirst for revenge, right? The one we saw in Dave's brother. But then it starts to change. It becomes a thirst for escape, that feeling of being tired of running, just exhausted by all the violence. And that exhaustion, well, it leads to the final and most important thirst, a thirst for salvation, for grace, for what the song eventually calls holy water. And that is what brings us to the song's incredible climax. After Kendrick and his friends are pushed right to the edge by all the despair and violence, a brand new voice enters the story, a voice of pure wisdom. And that voice, it turns out, is the one and only Maya Angelou. She sees these young men angry and ready for more violence, and she just diagnoses them on the spot. She looks right past the street-level stuff and speaks directly to their spiritual pain. She defines their thirst and tells them exactly what they need. She then leads them in the sinner's prayer. And in the story of this album, this short film, this is the moment of baptism. It's this powerful symbol of rebirth, offering a way out of the cycle, not with more violence, but with faith. It's a genuine moment of transformation. So let's zoom out. What's the real legacy of this track? I mean, it's been over a decade, and we're still talking about it. Why does it still matter so much? Well, for starters, it completely blew the doors off what a rap song could do with a story. It's this powerful piece of commentary, for sure, but it's more than that. It's an exercise in empathy, forcing us to see the humanity in everyone, even when they're trapped in these awful cycles.
It brings these huge themes, legacy, mortality, faith, right into the heart of hip hop, and it acts as the spiritual center of one of the greatest concept albums of all time. And in the end, it leaves us with this massive, hanging question, one that Kendrick is asking himself and one that every artist has to face. What is your responsibility when you tell these stories? There's a really fine line between honoring someone's life and exploiting their trauma. The song doesn't give us any easy answers. All it leaves us with is the weight of that question. And honestly, that's exactly what makes it so timeless and so absolutely essential.